Hi, it's Dwyer. It is Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Let's talk about some futures adjustments right now that we want to make in our NFL futures portfolio. But first, remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, let's just say that there's some teams right now that I believe forward-looking gamblers need to fade, given their current price levels and current situations, right? Let's not have ego get the best of us. As people know, I feel the best way to make money in betting on the NFL is in NFL futures. Week to week, there's too much turbulence, right? It's going to be hard on a week-to-week basis to hit the 54% mark that you need to really meaningfully be ahead of the point spread. But on futures, the public, for some reason, gets distracted, and there are teams that offer compelling value. Let's talk about one team you need to fade. I know it's controversial. One man's opinion here. And that's the New Orleans Saints at plus 700. Right? I think the Saints look good on both sides of the ball. No question about it. But just understand, Drew Brees, multiple rib fractures. Situation was so extreme, you saw him on the sideline telling his coach he could not go further. Now, a healthy Drew Brees these days can't throw the ball deep. We can overlook that, but let's remember, it cost the Saints in last year's playoffs. You also know that Drew Brees is going to be leaving for the broadcasting booth at the end of the year, right? So a healthy Drew Brees faces challenges. A Drew Brees with multiple rib fractures, keep in mind, he also had a collapsed lung, is probably going to miss several games, right? Several games. Let me also point out that he doesn't have Teddy Bridgewater backing him up. Teddy Bridgewater is very similar to Drew Brees in terms of accuracy and a short to mid-range passing game. Instead, they have someone new to the system who threw 30-odd interceptions last year, Jameis Winston, a strong-arm quarterback who likes to throw the ball downfield. Now, Taequan Smith just got knocked out of a football game. He's one of their deep threats. You know, Michael Thomas has been banged up all year, is not having a Pro Bowl year. Right? Simply put, is not having a Pro Bowl year. And you also realize, even though the Saints beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers twice this year, that Tampa Bay is loaded talent-wise. Right? If Antonio Brown is allowed to continue playing, and I understand there's some noise in the background there, right? Just understand you have Godwin, Evans, Antonio Brown, right? Receiving balls with Rob Gronkowski from Tom Brady, right? You have the running back who just dusted off a 98-yard run. I believe his name's Roland Jones or Ronald Jones. Tampa has statistically one of the best defenses in the league. Any slippage by the Saints could cost them in terms of playoff seeding, in terms of effectiveness in the playoffs, right? So the Saints are a team that right here at this price, I'm going to fade a little bit. In other words, I'm not adding to my position on the Saints. Let's talk about teams that you need to keep track of because somebody has to win the division. Somebody's going to make the playoffs, right? Somebody might be playing at home in the playoffs. And that's the AFC East, right? Understand, right now the Bills are 22-1. The Dolphins are 28-1. One team 7-3, the Bills. The Dolphins are 6-3. Now understand, this is not a play. based on the talent of either team. This is just a play based on the situation, right? These two teams are out the gate. The Patriots are below 500. The Patriots right now have given up more points than they've scored, right? Cam Newton is new to the system. Patriots have been doing it with a rushing attack. Sooner or later, a defensive coordinator is going to stop the Patriots' run game. It's an open question on whether Cam Newton, who was injured last year, can maintain a passing game, right? So the Bills and Dolphins look like one or the other is going to win the division, folks. At these long odds, 22-1 and 28-1, with only a half game separating them, you need to keep an eye on both teams. You might want to sprinkle a little on both, simply because, again, if one or the other wins the division and gets a good seed in the playoffs, then at that point you can hedge the play. Let's talk about a casino mispricing. And it is a mispricing. We know that the team with the best record in the league are the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know that the Steelers have the biggest divisional lead. Folks, it's 3 games. Think about that. 3-game lead. The team in second place, the Steelers, have already beaten the Baltimore Ravens. Let's be real here, too. You have Ben Roethlisberger, who has won a Super Bowl. Right? Ben has been to multiple Super Bowls. You have Mike Tomlin, the head coach, who has won a Super Bowl, who has coached a team to multiple Super Bowls. Now, looking at the Ravens, John Harbaugh, the head coach, has won a Super Bowl. He's one of the best coaches in the league. Is his quarterback, reigning MVP Lamar Jackson, one of the best quarterbacks in the league? He's certainly not in the postseason, right? I don't want to diss anybody, but we're talking about probabilities and betting here. Let's be real. Lamar Jackson has regressed a bit this season. He has a style that's unique, that takes defensive coordinators and teams that have played the week before in the middle of the season against a stay-at-home, in-the-pocket quarterback. When you face Lamar Jackson in the middle of a busy season, it's hard to make the adjustment to someone as nimble, as quick on his feet as Lamar Jackson. But you notice in the postseason, Lamar Jackson has not had much success. Right? He simply hasn't, folks. That's a red flag here. So, the Steelers right now, with a 3-game lead, with a distinct advantage in terms of experience with their quarterback versus the quarterback of their main rival, the Ravens, right? Ben, postseason, delivers. Lamar hasn't delivered. One would expect the Steelers to get the shortest odds in the NFL futures market. After all, they are the only unbeaten team left. But believe it or not, you're getting a plus 550 on the Steelers. That's because the market is too in love. Let me repeat that. It's too in love with my fantasy quarterback, Pat Mahomes. Right? We all know KC was down by double digits in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl against San Francisco. Folks, they're mortal. They're not that far ahead of everyone else. More importantly, they only have a 2-game lead in their division. Only a 2-game lead. Over the Raiders, who've already beaten them once. Right? So, even if you believe in the Chiefs, who statistically don't have that good a defense, certainly they don't have statistically the defense that the Steelers have. Right? Even if you believe in the Chiefs, given the fact that the Steelers have a 3-game lead, in their division. And given that the Steelers have a superior defense, along with their own Super Bowl winning quarterback, I'm surprised KC's only going off at a plus 325. It seems to me the casino has it wrong because the Steelers' situation, right? 3-game lead on a team with a quarterback who hasn't had postseason success, right? A quarterback who's having problems finding wide receivers, is living off tight ends. Seems to me that the Steelers should be getting shorter odds than KC simply because the Steelers are in the better situation. So, I believe this week, the Steelers at plus 550 are a team you need to consider increasing your NFL future on. Right? If the Steelers continue winning, and usually the way these unbeaten teams go is they'll often get to 12 wins, 13 wins before they falter. If the Steelers continue winning, and keep in mind they have a 3-game winning streak. Keep in mind they're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars this weekend. Keep in mind they've already beaten the Ravens. It's not like the Ravens at this point in the season have a tiebreaker on them. Right? This is different than the Raiders having already beaten KC. Right? So it's a little complicated there. Given the Steelers situation and the plus 550 that you're getting on an unbeaten team in mid-November, I think you want to increase your stake on the Steelers right here. Right? Let's make a few other observations. You know, Seattle's defense should concern you. Russell Wilson was having an MVP year. He's regressed a little bit in the last few weeks. Right? He's returned to earth a little bit. You saw Metcalf, the wide receiver who's been torching everyone, have a huge Jalen Ramsey problem last weekend. You understand that there's a possibility that he might go up against Jalen Ramsey in the playoffs or some other elite DB who, despite Metcalf's size and speed, might be able to neutralize him. Now, of course, you have Jamal Adams coming out. Now, look, we're all sensitive to mental health concerns here. We are. But, again, we're talking about probabilities. We're talking about betting money. Jamal Adams has been banged up at times this year. Now he's come out and he's told you that he suffers from depression from time to time. Right, folks? That increases the risk factor. Understand, they need Jamal Adams to be at his best to have this defense able to compete. Folks, the defense is not in the top 20 in the National Football League. Right? It's not in the top 20. Right? Plus, they're in the NFC West. Do the names Kyler Murray and Jared Goff ring a bell? Does Aaron Donald ring a bell? Right? If you're a Seahawk investor, right, in the futures market, you need to pay close attention to that situation. If Russell Wilson continues to come back down to earth, if he's not throwing 3 touchdown passes every week, and if Metcalf continues to struggle against elite corners, then there might come a time where we say openly here, you need to fade the team. In other words, you need to start looking elsewhere. Right? That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this video. Thanks for stopping by.